Hi! So I had a baby. That was the thing that happened. I wanted to share with you guys my actual birth story, so here goes nothing. When I posted last, I was about 38 weeks, and pretty much from that time up until I gave birth, I was in what some would call pre-labour, which basically means I was having contractions on and off, a lot of Braxton Hicks, but also actual contractions mainly at night. But they would always stop in the morning, which was so annoying because every night I thought, this is gonna be it, and then the morning would just be like a refresh button. On Sunday the 10th of January, my waters did actually break. They broke at 5:45 a.m. I went up to go to the toilet and I came back, sat down in bed and just, yep. I remember saying, Ray, get up, my waters just broke. And he was like, are you sure? And I was sitting there like literally still gushing, and I was, pretty sure. So I rang the hospital and they actually told me to come in to get checked to make sure that one, my waters had broken, and two, just to see if I was having any contractions or anything like that. Went to hospital, got checked, my waters definitely had broken, and they started talking to me about my options, about whether or not I can get induced straight away or I can wait a little while for natural labour to possibly take place. I wasn't really keen on getting induced, so I did decide to wait as long as I possibly could, and they gave me up to 92 hours. So it was that Sunday that my waters broke, and I was scheduled for induction that following Thursday. The next couple of days were pretty much a blur to me, just a blur of pain and uncomfortableness and just trying beyond all hope of trying to just induce labour naturally. Going for lots of walks, going up and down stairs, drinking raspberry leaf tea, drinking lots of pineapple juice, eating pineapple, doing lots of swaying back and forth, squats, all of that stuff. And I kept having those pre-labour contractions, but nothing sort of stuck. I was going to the hospital every day to get checked to make sure that I wasn't going to be prone for infection or that the baby was doing fine. On Wednesday, they told me to go home. I was having contractions, but they told me to go home. I was told to just put myself in a quiet, dark, safe place and just wait for it to happen naturally and keep my fingers crossed, basically. So all Wednesday, I was watching movies, swaying back and forth, using the exercise ball, having contractions, but again, nothing really picked up. So paranoid about timing the contractions because I was just waiting for that moment for them to be, 5, 4, 3 minutes apart. Around 10 o'clock at night, after about 24 hours worth of pretty consistent but not stable contractions, I got a really bad shooting pain up my left side in the back. It stayed there in between contractions and it was worse than the contractions. Going to the toilet made it worse, and pretty much any time I had a contraction, the back pain made the contraction worse as well. I rang the midwives at the hospital and again they told me to come in and get checked because it was possible I had a UTI or something like that. After my waters having been broken for that long, they had to make sure that I wasn't, getting an infection. So I went into hospital on midnight on Wednesday the 13th and I was in a lot of pain.
How you doing?
All I wanted to do was get rid of that back pain. That was so painful.
It's just back pain in between, just bugger off.
And it was constant, so there was no relief. When the doctor actually came and checked me out, she was fairly certain that from the pain I was experiencing, it was a kidney infection. They're still really not sure what it was. Because my induction was literally scheduled for the next morning, they decided to keep me overnight and they gave me some pain medication and something to help me sleep as well. Unfortunately, it didn't really help me sleep at all, and that was pretty much one of the worst nights of my life. I was either having a contraction, experiencing the back pain, or I was throwing up because I was in that much pain. All I kept thinking was that the next day I had to go through labour and I wasn't getting any sleep, and I probably hadn't had much sleep, if any, for the last 48 hours. So, 14th of January, this was the day I was going to have my baby. I was induced at 6 a.m. in the morning. When they induced me, they also checked my cervix to see how far dilated I was, and I was already 4 centimeters dilated, which I was pretty happy with. It made me feel so much better to know that all that pain I was going through for those 2 weeks was not for nothing, like it was for a reason. They pretty much just came in those doors, hooked me straight up and bam, contractions started. They started at about 2 to 3 minutes apart and they were fierce.
So we've got the serum. Got the serum which kickstarts everything quickly.
Oh, yeah, very
Yeah,
quickly.
and here comes another contraction.
Because I was induced and because I had my waters broken for up to 92 hours, they needed to have a monitor on me, both to check the baby's heart rate and also to check my heart rate. So I had to wear that the entire time, which was probably, thinking back, the most annoying thing about it all, and one thing that I wish I really didn't have to have. It meant I couldn't have a shower and I couldn't get up and walk around as much as I was hoping to. But I was determined to not be laying on the bed the entire time, so luckily I had a really, really good midwife who still let me walk around and sit on the exercise ball, which is pretty much where I sat and stayed the entire labour. My first initial thought of actually being in labour when those contractions started to come a lot quicker was, oh my god, I didn't realise there would be this much fluid. It literally felt like I was peeing myself times 1,000 every single time a contraction came. I honestly didn't understand why there was that much fluid. Like, where was it all coming from? Clearly, even though my waters had broken, there was still a lot of water left in there because it just kept coming. So from 6 until about 9, I basically just coped with labour. I didn't really think about pain medication. Like, I did, but I kept thinking I'm not there yet. I went into it thinking I wanted to go as far as my mind would let me go with the pain. It was kind of like a test for me. But I got to a certain point around 9 o'clock when I just looked at the clock and went, nah, I need some help with this. My midwife actually suggested something rather than go straight for complete pain medication. She suggested something called a bee sting in the back. Basically what they do is they get 2 needles that are like full of sterilized water and just do 2 little stings in your lower back. Of course, when you're in that type of pain, you're just like, sure, why not? Let's just try anything we can. She did actually warn me and say that it would be quite painful for at least 15 seconds and then it would go away. I cannot stress how much this hurt. It was the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life and I would never ever do it again. The relief was only for about an hour and then the back pain was back. So for me, not much reward for a lot of pain. About an hour after that, my midwife was going on morning tea break, but she said to me as she was leaving, when I come back, I'll check your cervix to see how far along you've come. All I could think of was that I wanted her to check my cervix and she wasn't coming back fast enough. So I got another midwife in and she didn't want to go ahead and check my cervix without the other midwife there. So what I ended up getting instead was just some gas through the tube, which, looking back on it, gave me something to concentrate on but didn't really help with the pain. Anyway, my midwife came back about 10:30, checked my cervix and kept saying, "You've come really far, you're doing really well." And I was just literally waiting for the centimetre count. She did eventually say I was 6 centimetres along and that's when I just went, nah, I need pain relief. Give me pain relief, I need it now. So they gave me some pethidine and I don't even remember them actually giving it to me. I just remember all of a sudden lying on the bed, not really feeling the back pain and just really feeling the need to push. I really didn't think I was allowed to push. I did actually ask, I feel the need to push, but isn't it too early? Like, isn't it way too early for me to start pushing? But the midwife told me to just do whatever my body was telling me to do, so I just did it. I started pushing with every contraction. It just kind of happened naturally. They don't really explain that to you or prepare you for that. It's literally just a natural experience to just want to push. So I started pushing and I was on my side and I was very comfortable. And I remember people saying to me, oh, we should get you up, you know, on the bed, get you in a better position to push. And I was just not having it. I was too comfortable. I was too tired. I kept saying, I can't get up, I can't move. Then I finally did get up and have my arms on the bed head and did start to push in that position, which I think helped move the baby down a lot faster. But because I was still having the baby monitor on to measure her heart rate, I had to eventually lie on my back to actually birth my baby. At this point, I don't really remember the pain being, you know, that horrible. It was bad, like it wasn't an easy experience at all. It was a lot of pain, but it was a different kind of pain because when you start pushing, it's almost like the pain is helping you push, so therefore the pain is there for a reason, so it's not as painful. Anyway, I was on my back, I started to push, and before I knew it, her head was crowning. I did manage to feel her head, and I did feel all of that hair that was on her head. I don't fully remember experiencing the ring of fire, but I think it was there. Honestly, at this stage, everything's just kind of a blur until her head was out. And then I remember I had to do different pushes to get her body out. I had to like do little grunts and breaths and just not actually push in one great heave.
Little push now. Blowing the baby out. Just breathe baby out. Oh, you're amazing. Beautiful work.
I really don't know how I did that, honestly. I felt like I had no control over my body, so yeah. Don't really remember much around this time. All I remember is when her head actually came out, and all I wanted to do was push. I just wanted to get her out. Like I could feel, it was the weirdest feeling ever to just have her head out. All I wanted to do was just push and get the rest of her out.
So now the baby's head is out. Okay. Wait for next time, darling. The body will tell you.
Obviously my body told me that it was time to push, and a few short little pushes later, she was out.
Little push. The moment she was out was one of the most surreal and amazing experiences of my life. There was another person in the room, like that just happened. I didn't realise this, but apparently they kind of handed her to Ray to continue handing up to me. The cord was actually quite short, so they couldn't bring her all the way up to my chest, so instead she laid on my stomach for a little bit while the cord stopped pulsating. As soon as the cord stopped pulsating, Ray clipped the cord and she was able to come up to my chest, and she stayed there for a couple of hours. And all I did that entire time was just cuddle her, experience her, breathe her in, and just really be in that moment. I honestly don't remember what was really happening down there. I do remember getting the placenta out and that it hurt, and I was kind of annoyed that it hurt because I'd just given birth to a baby. Surely that was the end of the pain. And I remember them asking me if I wanted to see it because it had the 2 lobes on it, but no thank you. Apparently I lost quite a bit of blood. I was kind of on the verge of hemorrhaging, but I was feeling fine, so they decided not to give me any blood at all. I was pretty much with it the entire time. The thing that I do remember, and the thing that I didn't enjoy at all, was getting stitches. I did tear, it was a 2nd degree tear, and it was all on the inside. The stitches were not fun at all. She took a very long time to do it, and by the time that she was getting to the last couple of stitches, the anaesthetic had worn off a bit, and I did feel those last few stitches quite severely. They gave me gas to breathe in, and I remember I breathed in way too much, got a little bit too happy, and I just remember saying to Ray, "Watch the baby," because I was so sure that I was gonna, like, I don't know, throw her off of me for some reason. So that's kind of the end of my birthing experience. I will be doing updates on April, and then first update I do will talk a bit about my hospital stay with her, including her birth stats and all of that sort of stuff. This was more about my own experience from the start of being in labour to the end. It was an amazing experience. I'm actually quite proud of myself for getting through it, and there is definitely that rush of hormones at the end that just... It's worth it. It's all worth it when you have that rush and you have your baby in your arms. The whole thing is still fairly fresh in my mind, so I'm not really sure about having another one yet and going through all of that again, but at the same time I can see why people do it for sure. If you want to see more detail about those days of pre-labour and the early labour and even the birth vlog, they are uploaded on the vlog channel that I upload on. I have also been doing vlogs of April since she was born, so if you want to see her and all of that, just head on over, and somewhere around here I'll leave a link, but it will also be down there, here, down there, here. Just click anywhere really. Thank you all for watching. I know it's been a bit of a long video, but I hope you've enjoyed my birth story, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye. Oh, it could be any day, and that could mean this, but it could also mean this, and oh, that might mean this, but it might also mean this. Just give me an answer.